Good afternoon, everybody. Pigskin Pete here. Happy Monday to everybody. And welcome back to episode 6 of Behind the Camera with Pete. And today I have on a guy that I've been trying to have on for the past couple weeks. And we'll go ahead and just get the elephant out of the room here, because I know a lot of people probably saw the video. I just deleted it, just for everybody who knows. The Entertainah Talkin Sports was nice enough to agree with come on with me, and we had a couple of hiccups trying to get that done. And this guy thought he was dealing with a rational human being, but now I think he probably knows better. But I will say that I do appreciate you taking the time to come on. And again, like I said, well, both in that video and to you in private chat, is that I do really appreciate all the people that come on and agree to come on with me and do these segments, because I know how hard it is to, when you got stuff going on, to try to find time to do that. So there's no hard feelings for anybody who's wondering out there. There's definitely not any hard feelings. Chris called me after that, and we had a private conversation, and everything's fine. And I really never, disliked the guy in the beginning, or he would not be here right now. So anyway, without further ado, everybody welcome Chris, the Entertainah Talkin Sports. How you doing, Chris?
Pete, man, I am thrilled to be on your show. And again, obviously we talk privately, but again, I want to apologize. Mix up. Like I said, I don't frequent Twitter a lot, and I should have said that from the beginning and offered you my phone number, because that was the only reason it was a mix up. And I'm glad to be on your show. I love your channel. The thing I respect most about your channel and is that you could tell that you do it because you love what you're doing, and you're not doing it, like you said, for clout or to get views. You love what you're doing. You don't care what anybody else thinks. You're going to do what you want to do, and I respect the hell out of your channel for that, and you know a ton. Anytime I'm on your channel, I'm not the biggest college football fan, but anytime I pop on your channel, I learn something. You know a lot about the game of football, but specifically your Clemson Tigers.
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, listen, I'm a bit of a hothead sometimes, so... But I'm also most of the time I'm a very level-headed person. So anyway, let's just get right onto it here. Listen, I've been looking forward to having you on, because I think that everybody that I've had on this show so far for Behind the Camera, everybody's, some people have some similarities, but there's a lot of differences between people. I mean, I've had some really, really big channels on, and guys that have been doing this for a long time, or a combination of either or the other. And you have a very specific aspect to your time on YouTube that I find extremely interesting. So I don't want to get this wrong, because I tried to kind of do a little bit of research and figure this out. But I think that you've only been on YouTube for maybe a year and a half, 2 years. Can you tell me exactly how long it's been that you started the channel?
Yeah, it's actually less than that. I've been on YouTube for about... I think I started a month after last year's NFL draft. So that would be maybe a year and 2 months.
Okay.
Something like that.
Yeah, because I went back on your channel to try to see exactly how far back the videos went. And the longest I got from the titles was a year ago, but I thought maybe you'd been on a little bit longer than that. So that's what you're telling me now. That's about right then. So
yeah, about a year and 2 months or so, 14 months.
Right. Okay. So I know, as a guy who's not been on that, I mean, I've been on twice as long as you, but still not that long in the grand scheme of things. And your channel has been really, really successful, and growing really, really quickly. And I know this, because I know what goes into doing this. I know what goes into building a solid viewership base, a subscriber base, and people that actually look forward to clicking on your video. And that's a testament to you in that short amount of time. The amount of content that you put out in that short amount of time, and not only the amount of content, but the quality of the content that you put out in that short of time, is pretty much unheard of in the sports community. Because if you do gaming, or you do whatever, a vlog series, those type of things blow up overnight and people get overnight success. But to do what we do, where it's either just videos from your car, I see you do that, videos from your car at work. I see you do produce videos from your house or your apartment or wherever you live, and collaborations with everybody under the sun. And that takes a lot of dedication and a lot of time. So I know that what you're doing on your YouTube channel is something that really means a lot to you. But let's go back to the let's go back to the origin of the YouTube channel. What was the idea? What was the thing that one day you just decided, hey, I'm going to make a YouTube channel and see where this goes. And then not only starting the channel, because I've said this before, anybody can go out there and start a YouTube channel, turn their phone on, turn their camera on, their webcam or whatever it is, and make videos. But to stick with it day after day and to put the time in and to put out quality content and through the ups and downs, to stick with it. What possessed you to do that?
What a great question. As far as the collaborations go, I attribute a lot of my early success, for sure, to some YouTubers taking the time out of their day to talk to me, and I think that definitely helped me. I think whenever you could, and by the way, I want to have you on my channel, by the way. Like I said, I really respect your content. It's just that we don't have a lot in common because you're more the college football element. But we do have that Gettleman thing in common, so I feel like we could probably talk about that.
Yeah, I can talk. But, I can talk NFL football. I just my channel's based around college football, but I'm an NFL fan, a lifelong fan too. So
I would love to have you on. But as far as the origin of my channel, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I used to be in group chats with my friends. We'd text videos back and forth, and I would make silly videos about sports. It was a text group chat with 5 of us. And I would make 15, 20, 30-second videos, and they'd be like, you know what, you're funny, you're energetic, you should start a YouTube channel. So then I started watching YouTube, and the first guy I came across, because I never really watched YouTube when it came to sports. For the most part, I watched ESPN, the traditional stuff, which now since I've learned, you get a lot better content on YouTube or on other platforms outside of mainstream media because there's no filter. You say what you really feel. Where on radio or on ESPN, they got to worry about interviewing these guys in a week. So they can't really tell you how they really feel. And you get the fans' perspective. So that's why I really do think YouTube is only going to grow. I think we're only in the beginning as far as the sports community goes. But the original thought process behind starting my channel, I did it for fun. I did it as a joke. I was making funny videos. I wasn't taking it very seriously. And then maybe 2-3 months in, because I was still giving information, I was still taking it seriously, but at the same time trying to make people laugh. And then I started realizing I was getting comments from people, I really appreciate your opinion. And I started taking it more serious. And then I said, you know what, I'm gonna turn here. I'm gonna start making this a more serious thing. And then, I started putting out serious content, putting in work, and more people started coming. And then, you're on YouTube. When you get recognition for something that you love to do, it only makes you want to work harder. And that's my mindset, man, is every day I wake up, I'm always thinking about my channel. I'm always thinking about what I could do to do something different, to differentiate myself from the rest of the competition, whether it be the call-in show, whether it be those live videos from my truck. I didn't start doing that until about 4 or 5 months ago, and then people started liking it, whether it be different types of collaborations, whether it be the Gettleman project, projects that I do, training camp battles. I always try to think of something different. And that's part of the thing I love about YouTube too, is you really get to show your creative mind, and you get to, it's like a challenge, right? What can I do next to improve my channel? And that's what I'm always trying to think of every day.
Yeah. And that comes across. I mean, it's obvious that you put a lot of time and effort and you have a real passion for, not only just football, but all of sports. But I'm glad that you mentioned the thing where you said you didn't even really used to watch YouTube before really you started making videos, because I fell into the exact same category. I don't even think people believe me when I say this, because I get a lot of people commenting, oh, you're a Clemson Tigers fan and you happen to come on YouTube at the time when Clemson was great. And I mean, listen, I can't defend that because, nobody's going to believe me when I tell them this, but I've said this before, is that I didn't even have a YouTube account as far as even viewing YouTube videos on my smartphone or my computer until about 3 or 4 weeks before I started my own YouTube channel. I found YouTube and found out that there was this community of sports fans out there that were just like me that had a voice. And I was like, I want to do that, because it's one thing to go in a comment section on all these YouTube channels and argue with people, but it's much better whenever you can turn on the camera and express your opinions in a more eloquent way, and not have let me rephrase that. Not have, but have the last say on your own channel. Listen, I'm the king and the emperor of my YouTube channel. What I say goes. You don't have to agree with it, but what I say goes. So Most of these, people I think have been watching YouTube for, a decade or so, but not me. It's only been a few years. Again, only a few weeks more than I've had my channel. And it sounds like you had the same sort of experience.
Same exact experience. I literally went on there 2 or 3 weeks before I started. And obviously now I do a lot of Knicks stuff as well, but my main team I wanted to focus on when I first started was the Giants, and a little Mets and a little Knicks, but I plan on being predominantly Giants. Since then, I've gained a lot of traction in the Knicks community as well, so it's probably more like a 60-40 split, Giants-Knicks. But that was my main focus. So 2 or 3 weeks before I decided to make this channel, I said, let me look on YouTube and see what's out there. And I saw Cop Pizzle, who, of course, has been doing this for, because I looked at Giants guys, who's been doing this for years. I saw Bad Dog. I saw She Got Sports. I saw Ron Effect. And I started saying, you know what? I could bring a different element to this. I can bring something original and unique. And then that's when I decided to do it. But, yeah, just like you, I never watched YouTube. And Jet Central was actually one of the first guys I came across as well. And because I love Baker Mayfield going into the draft, and he made a great video. I remember watching him like, this guy is great. On Baker Mayfield, and I reached out to him right when I first started my channel. I was like a month in. He immediately said he wanted to collaborate. I'll never forget that. He is a great guy, and he's a big reason why my channel, a lot of guys, he's one of them, though, that my channel's had as much success as it has.
All right, well, that's a perfect segue into our my next question with you, is because I know you said you saw my behind-the-camera interview with Bad Dog, and I asked him about you. I said, what was how did that all happen? Because I knew who Bad Dog was before I knew who you were, but I didn't really start watching you or Bad Dog until you guys were doing a lot of collaborations together, particularly those Friday night, I don't even know what you called them, the ones you did on Friday night where you were just
talking nonsense.
Yeah, talking nonsense, and it was great. And that's really what got me onto you. And of course, I've been a fan of your channel ever since. But so can you recap exactly the way this whole thing went down with Bad Dog? Because look, I can't compare my situation to yours, because like you said a minute ago, we've all had, if you're coming out on YouTube and you got nobody watching or nobody caring, there's always that 1 or 2 or 3 other video makers that have a little bit more of an established viewership that bring you in and give you some exposure and say, hey, you guys need to check this guy out. Everybody that's starting out on YouTube needs that. And Bad Dog, obviously, I'm assuming, you'll tell me if I'm wrong here, was instrumental in helping you get some exposure on YouTube. So, but you guys seem like really good friends from the start. It didn't seem like something that you just were collaborating out of the dark. It seemed like as soon as you guys got on camera together, you had some sort of chemistry that is really hard to come by on YouTube. Can you just take me back to how did that whole thing start? I mean, with Bad Dog.
Yeah, 100%. I had been doing YouTube for a little while at this point, and I'd gained some traction. I think I'd done a few live streams. I probably had about, 1,500 to 2,000 subscribers at that point. And I reached out to Bad Dog, and I'd watch his live streams every now and again when I had free time. And I reached out to him, and it's similar to this situation. I reached out to him, and he canceled on me the first time we were supposed to work together. I don't remember the reasoning. He said something. I think he was busy, whatever it was. And then the very next week,
so you learned from him, huh?
Yeah, I learned from him. Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
The very next week, I asked him again, and he called me at work. We hadn't even talked to each other yet. We texted here and there. I called him. I texted him. I hadn't called him. He called me while I was at work and said, yeah, I could do it. And it was late. I got home. It was like 9:30. And I said, let's do it. The first video we did was edited. And right away, while we were doing it, I'm like, this is going to be great. People are going to love this. And it was just like you said, instant chemistry. There's certain guys you work with better than others. I think I work great with Jet Central. I think I work great with Bad Dog. I think I work great with Sim on my Nick show. But there's certain guys, and you're absolutely right, it is very hard to find because it's hard when you do a two-man show because you have to give the other guys opportunity to say what he wants to say. You don't want to step on his toes. And I just think Bad Dog and me set each other up very well, whether it be for a joke, whether it be for just conversation about the Giants, and I think it comes through, which is why. And yeah, he obviously helped me out, and I hope I help him out. Us growing together as we get bigger and bigger and bigger. And yeah, we're right around the same sub count now, and we both, I think, help each other really, grow in the Giants community. And That's what's great about YouTube. That's what I always say to anybody I ever talk to. A lot of people, I think, have the wrong mindset when it comes to YouTube, and they view it as a competition. They view it as this guy has this many more subscribers than me. He's getting this many more views. The way I look at it is it's one huge collaboration. Yeah. Because as you grow, it's going to help me grow in the long run, because as the sports community gets more eyes on it, because it's small right now. You brought up the gaming aspect of YouTube. You bring up comedy, whatever it is, comedy videos on YouTube. People don't really know at this point, how good the sports community is on YouTube. It's only growing. It's very small right now. So when other people grow, it helps you out. So I never look at it as a competition. I really do view it, honestly, as like a huge collaboration within the sports community. And Bad Dog gets that same, a lot of guys, Philly 500, Sports Fury, yourself, they don't view it as a competition. I think that is why a lot of channels have more success than others, because they're not all in it for themselves. They realize that by other people growing and helping them out, it's going to help them out in turn.
Oh, absolutely. I never got the competition thing to begin with. Look, I'm the poster child for this, because you mentioned earlier that, you don't know a lot about college football and things, but I don't blur the lines. I'll have anybody on in the sports community, even if it's something that I don't even know about. The collaborations are what people want to see. Really, honestly, it's always more compelling to have two opinions, two people bouncing things off each other, whether they agree with each other or disagree with each other, than it is just having one person giving their own biased opinion on camera. It's definitely more compelling, in my opinion. I've never been the one to feel like I'm competing with anybody. There's enough viewers out there for everybody to eat, and I think it just makes it better. But we've been through the Bad Dog part of it. We know that part of it. But the announcement that came out, I don't know how long it was ago, a month or 6 weeks ago, that you are a certified member now of the Sports Fury team. I thought that announcement was amazing. I thought that came out. Listen, I wasn't expecting that. The funny thing is that I had Josh and Sean on this series, I think maybe a week before that announcement was made. Maybe it was the same week, but it was before that announcement was made. And one of the questions that I asked them was, what does the Sports Fury empire or channel or whatever look like in the near future? And I think that they knew they wanted to say something about you, but they didn't. They just said, look, we're looking at expanding our empire and bringing more people into the Sports Fury from around the country and becoming something like a Barstool Sports type of organization. And then it wasn't maybe a few days later, I heard, and we all heard, that the Entertainah Talkin Sports was joining the Sports Fury. So I'm assuming that's still going on, right?
Yeah. A little complication with me moving to Texas. Right now my car's in the shop, and it's taking forever for it to get fixed. It's having electrical problems, so I may not be there by August 3rd. That was my plan. But yes, it's still going to happen regardless. And the beauty of it is I think it's going to help both of us, because I still get to do my New York content on my page, and I get more exposure from them. They get exposure from me. And I think it's a brilliant idea by them, branching out, expanding their brand, Sports Fury New York, whatever. I think they have plans to branch out in the future as well to bring in more people. But like I said, I think just like we said with YouTube, how it's one big collaboration, I think that's the mindset that Sports Fury has. I think they find content. I think their plan is to find content creators that they feel fit their brand, and grow that way. And I think it's a brilliant idea, and I'm excited to expand my content to be able to talk more broad sports, not just New York.
Oh that's brilliant. I mean, I think it's going to work out great for them. So you mentioned that you're moving to Texas. This is something I definitely wanted to ask you about, because listen, I don't know your life story. Maybe you can just give me a brief, history, but do you live in New York or New Jersey?
New York. I grew up on Long Island. Okay. I don't know if you know where that is, but
yeah,
it's in New York. And I grew up there, lived in, different apartments throughout Long Island my whole life. I moved to Brooklyn about 6 months before I started my YouTube channel, because I work in Queens, and it was just a much closer commute. And I've lived in New York my whole life, and visited Texas, great place. And I'm not moving to Texas because it's Texas. I look at what the Sports Fury is. I mean, I have a dream. I have a dream, and I didn't even realize this dream. Like I said, when I first started YouTube, I was doing this for fun, for make people laugh as a hobby. And as it got bigger and bigger and bigger, I said, you know what? I'm going to take this seriously because I actually love doing this. And it took me till I was 33 years old to really find out what I love to do. You know, I always knew I loved sports, but I never knew I'd be good at talking about it. Right. You know, I knew I could talk about it with my friends, whatever. But it made me realize my dream. And I think sports career has that same goal. And that's why I think we fit each other really well. I think we're both trying to do the same thing. We're both around the same age. Josh is my age. I think Sean's about 30. And we're all trying to do this full time eventually. And that's, I think, the best connection. I also think our personalities work. And I think I bring a different aspect to their channel, which is good for them. I think you could always use something new. Like I said with my channel, I'm always trying to do something new to keep it fresh, to keep people engaged. And that's why I think it's a good fit.
I mean, I think it's amazing. And so, listen, you're not married, right? You don't have any kids or anything like that.
No.
Okay.
Single.
Yeah. So that, of course, listen, that makes it a lot easier to pick up from New York and move to Texas if you don't have that, you know, that the family aspect to it. But listen, I still think that whether you have a family or not, it takes a lot of guts. And I'm gonna tip my hat to you on this one. You just said you grew up on Long Island. You grew up right there in New York City, working in Queens, and you're picking up at the age of 33 and moving your entire life down to Texas to follow your dream. And that's something that is not, I mean, it's easy to say, yeah, you don't have kids, you can just pick up and leave, but you're still leaving your entire life that you've built and been there your entire life. It's going to be maybe a little bit of a culture shock, but I will tell you this. Living in the South my whole life, my parents are from the Northeast, Pennsylvania and Ohio, but I grew up, I was born and raised in South Carolina, and I could tell you the region I live in is packed with New Yorkers and people from the Northeast that have moved down south for a lot of reasons, you know, money reasons. It's cheaper to live here. The weather's nicer, all that sort of thing. But I have a feeling that once you leave and go to Texas, you probably will never go back and live in New York again. That's because
I love New York. I absolutely love New York.
Well, I don't doubt that. Yeah.
Yeah. But what I'm going to say, and I probably agree with you, the main reason being not so much that I think I'm going to like Texas better than New York. I think the main reason is going to be the cost of living. And I think the benefit to YouTube, or maybe it will be something other than YouTube 4 years down the road. Maybe we'll create our own platform like a Barstool Sports. That would be amazing. Mm-hmm. But the benefit to that is it's not like a job I have now where I'm a cable technician where I'm making $27 an hour in New York, and if I worked in Texas, I'd be making $18, $20 an hour, whatever it would be.
But you're
on YouTube, you make money no matter where you live.
Yeah, the salaries are lower in the South, but the cost of living is so much cheaper. It's unreal. I mean, $18 an hour in Texas is like $50 an hour in New York.
Yeah, and that's the benefit to YouTube is I'm still making the same salary or whatever you want to call it that I'd be making here or there. So if my eventual goal and dream is to do this full time, it doesn't make sense for me to stay in New York, the most expensive place to live in the country. So I think that's the main reason, if anything, why I wouldn't come back to New York. I agree with you, and I think I like Texas. I was down in Texas. I enjoyed it. Obviously, obviously you're nervous. You're going to a place where you don't know anybody other than Josh and Sean. But I think it's going to work well. And I think the beauty of it is I get to continue doing what I do. I get to continue putting out my New York sports content. It's just I'm doing more content on top of it now on the sports fair, and that's what I'm really looking forward to. Being able to expand my brand and working with two guys that I really admire.
Something else to look forward to as a young, single, strapping young man like yourself is the women in the South are smoking hot. There's more of them, and I don't want to go out of bounds here, but I'm just going to go out and say this because I believe this is true, that most women in the South, not all, are just generally nicer than the women in New York. Do you think so?
Yeah. I don't have any experience with women in the South. I've never, visited the South. But I'll tell you this: it's not even just a North-South thing; it's a New York thing.
Yeah.
And there's tons of great women in New York. But I've been to New Hampshire. I've been to a bunch of other states, and you're absolutely right. The people generally are more friendly. New Yorkers are tough. New Yorkers are tough. But yeah, women, I remember my friend lives in New Hampshire, and I go up there every once in a while. Every time I go there, when I'm at a bar, women would approach me. I'm like, this is different. this isn't what this isn't what I'm used to. I'm used to trying to hit on a girl and them making fun of me or something like that.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely the women, in my experience, not so much in the South because I've never really lived there, but when I've been out of state, the women tend to be more friendly. I think you're absolutely right about that.
All right. So other than, chasing women like a young man should do and, watching sports on TV, whenever you're not working, whenever you have free time outside of work and YouTube, what do you enjoy doing? Do you have any hobbies or likes?
Yeah. I'll tell you this, man. The amount of work I put in my channel and the hours I work, I don't have a lot of free time, which is another reason why I'm leaving New York, because my shift at work is horrible. I work nights.
Right.
It doesn't give me a lot of free time. But when I have free time, yeah, I love going. I'm a huge movie guy. I like going to the beach sometimes, going on dates when I can. I mean, normal stuff. I'm a huge poker player. I love playing poker.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm nothing like abnormal, but yeah, normal stuff. I huge movie guy. I actually thought when I first started doing YouTube, I was 50-50 at doing either movies or sports. And I said, all right, let me try sports first. And it did well. So I was like, all right, I'm going to keep doing this. But yeah, I'm probably equally as passionate about movies as I am about sport.
I got you. That's a good hobby to have. I completely relate with the not having time to do anything. All right, so here we go. Chris, last question I have for you. This is something that I've been asking everybody from behind the camera, and I'm going to ask you the same thing. I've got some pretty good answers out of this. I've got some pretty much non-answers out of this. But can you point to one particular event or occasion or circumstance that has happened to you that you would not have had you not started your YouTube channel? Whether it be a good situation, a good experience, or a bad experience, or maybe it's more than one experience. Is there anything that you can tell me and the rest of the viewers here today that you cherish or dread as a memory that never would have happened had you not started the Entertainah Talkin Sports YouTube channel?
Yeah, I can't give you one individual moment, but I'll say this. The one thing that I love more so than anything else, more so than people recognizing my content, more so than my channel growing, more so than me figuring out what I love to do, which is probably the most important thing, is I actually figured out what I want to do in life from doing YouTube. But the thing that the relationship, even though I haven't met these people face to face, the relationships that I've created with not just other YouTubers, with subscribers. I have a separate group chat with like 60 of my subscribers on YouTube. We talk all the time about sports, just life in general, and connecting with people. I have tons of great subscribers in there. Christian Orr is a great example. I love that kid. Just that, the support people have shown me, and really encouraged me to say, yeah, this is the right thing to do. Go out and pursue your dream. Continue to work harder. That has been the thing that I cherish most, the encouragement that people have given me to, when I first started, I was like, I'm going to get a lot of trolls. And I'll tell you this, some of the people in my real life were trolls. They were discouraging me. They said it was stupid. Yeah. They said, don't do this. That is one thing that I really don't like, from doing YouTube. Not saying everybody, but I had some friends, quote unquote friends, that discouraged me from doing this. They said it was dumb.
Sure.
But the one thing that I really cherish is the people that I've met through my channel, and I hope I get to meet in real life. I'm setting up an event to go to the Giant Jet game. I hope a lot of people come to that. And I've met some YouTubers. I met Sim from the Knicks. I met Jet Central. I met Rover, who I love too. I should have mentioned him, who I know is good friends with you. Obviously, I met Josh and Sean. And but the subscribers, I mean, really, the people that comment on all my videos, that go to all my live streams and always encourage me. They always say, you're great. Keep doing what you're doing. 10K is just a milestone. You're going to get much bigger. You're going to be on ESPN one day. Those comments mean the world to me. Your play-by-play is better than what I hear on TV.
Yeah.
So like stuff like that is the things that I cherish most.
That I agree. That's a great example, actually, because there's and everybody has people in their personal life, especially if they've known them for a long time, that they can be toxic and be negative when it comes to what really matters to you. And to have people, and again, this is the reason I started my channel, is because I can relate to people, people like you and everybody that I've had on my channel, and a lot of my subscribers, and the list goes on and on of people that share the same sort of passion for sports and for football, in my case, college football and NFL football, but in your case, all sports, whatever, that I never would have met and had those interactions with had I not started my YouTube channel. So I completely relate to the what you said there. It was a great answer. Now, Chris, look, this was a great interview. You're a great sport. I look forward to working with you again in the future, whether it's on my YouTube channel or yours. And I wish you much success, both on YouTube in life and, of course, with your venture with the Sports Fury Empire is what I'm calling it. I know they call it Sports Fury Nation. I'm going to call it the Sports Fury Empire. And you should be proud to know that 10 years from now, when we look back and Sports Fury has, 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 other content creators on their platform, that you, sir, were the very first one that they brought on. And you should hold that as a badge of honor. And I wish you much luck with that.
I mean, that means the world to me, man, that you even say that. And I respect, like I said, I can't wait to do it. I think this is good. I don't even think it's just the sports fair. I think the community as a whole, I think it's literally at its baby. We're like a newborn baby. Like, I think YouTube, the sports community, is going to get 100 times bigger than it is now. And we're the pioneers. We're the people that are starting it. And that is the most exciting thing for me. And I absolutely agree with everything you said. I need to have you on my channel. If you want to come on my channel this week sometime, I would love to have you on, whether it be to talk NFL or whatever. But I really do respect your channel when I say that. When I look at people's channels, what I respect about people's channels, when I do respect their content, when it comes across that you really love what you're doing. When I go to certain people's pages, you can tell that they may not really love what they're doing, or they may just be making a video to get views or subscribers and not really know or care about what they're talking about. With you, whenever I go to your channel, I know that you love what you're doing, you love what you're talking about, and you're genuinely doing it because you think it's an important thing to talk about for your channel, not because it's a silly video and you're just doing it to get more views. That's the thing I respect most about your channel. And the people whose channel I respect most on YouTube, it's the same trait. Yeah.
And it's funny. I get the question all the time from my subscribers and stuff in the chat. Who do you think the most underrated YouTuber is as far as sports go? And I always say myself. And I know that comes across as arrogant, but when I talked to you earlier on the phone before we had this conversation on air, you said that you thought that I was the most underrated YouTuber on YouTube. And so I agree with you.
Listen, man, I completely... The content that you put out, and like I said, I don't frequent your page a lot, not because I don't like your content. I love your content. It's because I obviously am going to frequent people that are within my realm, Giants fans, Eagles fans. But whenever I go to your page, and for some reason my notifications have not been working, I have to get that looked at. For the last 3 weeks, I haven't been getting any notifications. Must have turned them off by accident. But whenever I go to your page, I can't believe you have less than 2,000 subscribers. It blows my mind because you could tell. And the same thing with Spencer. I'll tell you, Spencer is very underrated too. And I think he has so much knowledge. And it's the same thing with both you guys. Jet Central is great as well. But I agree with you. Based on sub count, you are probably the most underrated sports YouTuber, at least that I know of. Obviously I don't know every sports YouTuber, but yeah, you put in a lot of work. The only thing that holds you back, in my opinion, is just because you have a limited fan base, I guess, right? Because you focus primarily on Clemson.
That's very true. Yeah, absolutely. And I realize it. And by the way, I was just kidding. I do think I'm underrated, by the way, but that's not, that really is not the most important thing to me. I think that the time and the energy and like you said, the passion that I put into it, it's just a matter of time before I get where I want to go. But I don't put a time limit on it, man. I don't do this for money at this point. I mean, I have a job and, I always have my whole life and all that. But if that happens, that's great. But the reason I do it is just for fun and to link up with great people like you. So, Chris, this is great. I really appreciate you coming on. Everybody go check out Chris, the Entertainah Talkin Sports. Hit subscribe. He does listen, I know a lot of people that come across my channel always asking me, do you cover baseball? Do you cover basketball? And the answer always is to no to that. So if you're into NFL, Major League Baseball, basketball, any of that, go check out Chris, the Entertainah Talkin Sports. You will not be disappointed, I promise. And aside from just the sports coverage, he's extremely funny and likable and entertaining guy. So thank you, Chris, for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Pete, for having me on. I'm glad that we were able to do this, man, and look forward to working with you in the future.
All right, man. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.
All right, buddy.
All right, guys. There you have it. That's Chris, the Entertainah Talkin Sports. A guy I've been trying to have on for a few weeks. We finally got it done, and so it is what it is. But he really is. He really is a good guy. Really a nice guy, and all the credit goes to him for what he's been able to do on YouTube. And I have no doubt in my mind that the leaps and bounds that he's making in his personal life with moving to Texas to join up with Josh and Sean is going to work out great. And so I hope you all enjoyed the interview. I know I did, finally. And I will see you next time on Behind the Camera with Pete. Everybody have a great day. Thanks for stopping in. Pigskin Pete checking out.